You're good.
Okay. Jeremy Toth, I'm calling to order the March meeting of the Governance Committee for ErieNet. Just note roll call here. We've got Michael Reedon and Dan Castle. We also have the chairman, Thomas Baines, who's not a member of this committee, but is here anyway. We also have Bob Murray, who's counsel for the corporation, who's going to walk us through some of the sort of boilerplate changes that he's recommending. And I note for the record that I don't think it's in our packets, but we have a one-page ErieNet 2025 policy updates and amendments. It's sort of a quick and dirty explanation of the amendments to each of the policies as Mr. Murray is recommending. He's going to walk us through those. But first, first I need an approval. The February 18 meeting minutes. If I could have a motion. Okay. All opposed? They're all in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right, so the meeting minutes are approved. We'll now go to item 3, which is the amendment and restated policies as reflected on the agenda. And Bob, walk us through it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Okay. So we have 6 policies that we've tinkered with this year. You guys are subject to the public authority law, and I think we have a total of 15 or so policies, maybe more, that govern this corporation. And just so everybody knows, under public authority law, you only need to re-adopt by law on an annual basis the board of directors. That is the corporation's investment policy and the corporation's property disposition policies. So all the other policies don't need to be re-adopted. And any time during the year, including at the annual meeting, if you make any change to policies, the board needs to approve them. So, and I just want to say that's up to the chair's discretion, but some entities like to re-adopt every single policy. Others, I can tell you this year, the Erie County I gave the first time ever, it said enough. We're approaching 500 pages. The board package is too much, mercy. So we're only presenting the ones that need to get adopted. And a few of these are statutory changes. So I'll walk you guys through the changes. Everybody has this cheat sheet. I think this is the most helpful. And then I'm looking through your board packages. So maybe I guess we'll go through what you guys want to go through the cheat sheet or go through how they appear in the board package.
Cheat sheet.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first policy listed on the cheat sheet is the corporations were amending and restating the board directors defense and indemnification policy. Look at the board package. Oh, did you find that out? Oh, it's like very end. Okay.
Maybe easier just to walk through them in the order they're.
Maybe. All right. So the defense and indemnification policy, we're amending it, updated data reference to public authority law section 28.24.1 Act, which requires adoption of the defense. Look, it's annoying lawyer stuff. We did have that statement in there, but the policy otherwise applies. So very simple change. The next policy is the corporation's, we're amending the restatement of the corporation's sexual harassment policy. This is statutory requirement, has nothing to do with being public authority. Every corporation has to have one of these. We compared our old policy to what New York State recommends. We put before us the state's recommended harassment policy. I don't recommend taking or deviating with it.
Just one question, and I'm sure this is part of the state policy. I've just never seen it before. The bystander intervention, where we encourage employees to get involved and report.
It's in our training.
I know
it's in the training.
Yeah, but I've never seen it as a written policy.
Anywhere you encounter it,
yeah,
you should engage it.
Yeah.
It's
And I'm just wondering, can you have a board policy that dictates how people are acting outside the purview of this organization?
Well, it would only apply if somebody was acting as an employee. Or in the scope of,
An employee witnessing harassment by bystanders encouraged to report it. Doesn't it say if it's at work? It could be at the mall. It could be at a restaurant. It could be.
No, I don't know.
I don't.
I'm just,
Yeah.
okay.
so the bystander, they might, I mean, the way I read it was,
Right, but the way I read this was, if you're an employee, you should report it wherever you see it, because that's what it's saying.
Yeah, I don't think
Okay,
I mean, unless you want to get beaten up.
no, I don't know, I'm not.
I understand what you're saying about the
Yeah.
phrase bystander.
All right.
But I think they mean the phrase bystander is not legal. I just think they mean, but still within the scope. I mean, it's still within this, you know, if you don't have your ErieNet hat on, I don't think you're bound by.
Okay.
I think the trainings I've been through, it's like you're working and
Yeah.
the UPS person comes in.
Yeah, I
Right.
get the same thing,
Yeah.
so that's why I was wondering, I don't know, Saturday, seemed interesting.
So,
But it's all standard language.
yeah, it's, man, I didn't, I have, you know, our labor guys that did this, I didn't make a lot, but the recommendation was here, do not encourage. Okay. Okay, the next policy being very, very small amendment is these access to record FOIL law policy. New law was passed at the end of 2024. This one, the government authority has to add a new provision to their bylaw, or sorry, to the FOIL policy, which requires that if an employee or current or past employee gets a FOIL for his or her employment disciplinary records, and if the agency decides to release that, remember, a FOIA is permissive, not mandatory, then you have to give notice to that current annual employment employee that you're releasing records. We put in the language verbatim, it's like, that's totally required. So now the policy applies to law.
Makes sense.
Okay, the next policy is the amended MC customer proposal policy. Erie ECC folks, right? This is maybe Melissa. This is Ash's policy in place. It's been in practice for a year, and these three recommendations are being inserted to just help us better deal with our customer service proposals and what we've learned. What ECC really has learned in terms. Really benign changes, three little changes. I mean, you can read them there. We can walk through them or certainly discuss with ECC at the board meeting, but pretty benign changes. But ECC was desirous of having them in there.
So there's something ECC's
Driving.
not a change still. So maybe,
You know, I saw that definition called capital investment. I thought it was kind of,
I was confused.
because it includes some things that are not capital.
I tried to go through
I think you
myself,
should
but
see that.
I didn't. I just didn't
Yeah,
exactly
like, you know,
understand.
again, this whole internet world, this is a strange world of you know, services and products corporations providing and what we're going to ask folks to pay for when we enter the contract. Probably, there's probably more business decision in that definition than there is more. It's all business. It's not a legal definition. So, if that's what Melissa and
I'm trying to find those in here. Pages.
let's see.
Red line was highlighted in the red line version.
Right.
But it doesn't, missing it here. So we're getting customer proposals, capital investment.
What a capital investment.
Yeah, it had a different definition of capital investment.
Such shall mean and refer to the total amount of upfront costs and expenditures to be incurred by the corporation of bringing such any customer proposal. Whose planning hereby and shall include into the cost relating to design, permitting, paint rate, equipment, materials, construction, and or installation and commission costs.
Why don't we, because ErieNet's not here, if we can, ECC, sorry, yeah, we're here, sorry. We can ask ECC to explain the changes at the board.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is that what we're dropping now? Oh, yeah,
They're here.
yeah.
They're here.
They're down in the cafeteria. When you send that a text.
Yes.
Okay, so it's,
I pulled the red line up too, if you guys need it.
oh, good. Oh, yeah.
Was not sure.
Yeah, there it is, right there. Exactly what that was talking about. I just didn't understand it. So why don't we move on and have ACC? Okay.
Employee policy manual, we had our labor, so look at your policy of last year. And we did changes that our labor attorneys recommended inserting into the policy.
Did have the one question.
Are you pulling those up in the,
I can, yes. I was just texting Matt.
red lights?
Which one would you like up?
The
Employee protection.
policy manual policy.
It's right here. It says all the changes.
It's on the first page.
Yeah. And it was,
Yeah, that's something.
I'm sorry, I forgot this is a bunch of pages. What?
Yeah, again, what specific, I
The
remember.
question is, and sensitive topic, I know, the statement on employees' reproductive health decision making. That first sentence, the first paragraph, it just said, it's, the decision to use or access a particular drug. Just that kind of, if you just take that statement on its own, it sounds like I know it's in the context of reproductive health decision making, so maybe that's the important note. But it seems to indicate that our policy allows people to use or access a particular drug without saying defining what a particular drug is. So if I wanted to, if you tell me this before I come over here, is that a particular drug that's okay? It's in the first.
Yeah, what?
Showing? Oh, okay.
What page? Just so I.
Maybe it was in there. Yeah, I guess it was in there before. It's in the first paragraph.
Oh, yeah.
The end of the last sentence, part of the last sentence of the first. Yeah. Yeah. The decision to use or access a particular drug.
I mean, but it's part of the sentence.
I know, I'm just tossing it out because
That's what you do.
that's what I do when I.
Yes.
That's why we need lawyers to decide these things.
I mean, the sentence is about discrimination based on reproductive, and then the subjunctive phrase or the dependent clause is. So I mean, I don't think you can read that as anything other than reproductive medicine.
I'm good with that answer. I just wanted to bring it up because if you just take it out of context, it sounds like if we have an employee in the future that has a drug problem, they say, well, policy says I can take a particular drug. Whatever. You guys don't share that, that's fine.
I do.
But that doesn't say that we would advocate or otherwise. It just says that we won't access their information without their prior consent.
Oh, I see. So we're not saying they can use it.
We're not taking a position on it.
Right. Right. Just saying the rest of the sentence.
Yeah.
Right. So you gotta read the whole sentence.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, me too. That's the point. I gotta read the whole
Okay,
sentence.
all right. I believe it enough. All right, thank you.
Although that sentence is like 60 words.
Yeah. It's a whole paragraph.
I mean, good Lord.
and next change is to this committee's governance charter. We have.
Wait, just any, no more on the employee, you okay, Dan?
Yeah,
Everything else, the
yeah, no, I didn't.
nursing and, paid sick, PTO.
That's fine.
So governance committee charter. I think we did talk about changing authority to corporation.
Yep.
Corporation to authority, whatever. So I don't think we need anything more on that.
Nope, we're good there.
Going to finance and audit, same changes, right?
Yep.
Well, that's all good. Procurement. Oh, the economic development opportunity.
I saw that too.
Yeah.
So that's permitted under law. We didn't have that in our policy.
Yeah.
It will add some flexibility to our policy, because that's defined pretty broadly under the law.
Yeah.
So if we want the ability to,
Isn't everything we do in economic development?
well, we're supposed to do procurements, right? And we're really good at doing them. There's been several times where I'm not throwing ECC under the bus about, they're trying to be pro-business, say, we need to hire someone to get something done quick. And a few times we've availed ourselves to the professional services, the licenses, which is 100% permitted.
Yeah,
But
same thing.
at the same time, you gotta be careful not to use that as well. By adding this, and I don't know why we didn't have it in the first place, but by having it in there, it gives us another hook to hang our hat on. So like, we do have requests right now to hire some, we need some GIS help. And once we insert this into our policy, if we're getting tired of, I never want us to be criticized, oh, you're never doing RFPs, you're just using engineering. No, we do RFPs, and the few times we did, it's because one, they had the proper license, and two, for the issue we'll talk about the board, we really have a critical time period to get GIS folks on our make-ready contracts to do our work. And for whatever reason, there's been delays, and if this affects the economic development opportunities as the final law of this, which I think it does, we could also use this version. We're going to cite them both. So it gives us more flexibility.
Okay with that, Dan?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Does the county have the same thing? Like, can we bypass our procurement for something related to economic development opportunities?
Depends on the department and the money and my department can.
Department of Economic Development. Can you?
It depends all I can tell you is I don't have to do RFPs as the county attorney. That's the extent of.
It's not, we can pull it up after that, but it's not economic development, like, oh, we want to sell and develop real property.
Right.
No, it's related to like an emergency.
Emergency need, like something.
But it would put it at risk, it would put the opportunity at risk. We could pull it
Well,
up.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
that if we, like the IDA, if we had someone come into the ag park and we needed to extend natural gas there right away, does that mean we go emergency procurement?
Maybe, well,
Maybe they do it with DPW, when there's buildings or something
Yeah.
like that, with our fees, they basically.
I can't think of for us what would constitute emergency.
Well, I don't know. Anything the legislature asks for, I suppose.
Emergency comes in emergency.
If by virtue's asking, it's a crisis. Don't you miss those days?
Nope.
I'll get that.
I just curious how far.
I want to know, yeah, no, the question. I'm pretty mindful of procurement, so I never want to see it being up. You guys don't either.
Right.
Okay. Next policy, we amended the restated compensation reimbursement attendance policy. This corporation has employee policy manual which governs these topics, so we're referencing that. We're putting that right. I mean, you don't have to do this. It's like in non-good governance. We're referencing that the employees' compensation and it's governed amongst other things in the employee policy manual. And the record retention policy. This is new. The state. Well, we should have had a policy if we didn't have one, which in any event, the law changed this year and it changed for everybody, municipalities, about the record retention scale for different records. There's a 400-page manual on this stuff. So we're just adopting the new state record retention requirements. And we're putting this into policy, and we're supposed to have a records retention officer reviewing that person in our when we authorize officers at the board.
Is this something the state requires all boards to have, or just those under the ABO?
No, yeah, government, so municipal
It's
corporation.
like an advisory committee.
No, but that committee, right? Oh, if the committee was affiliated with the board should be saying that stuff. But if you're just random advisory committee, if you're not tricking the definition of a municipal corporation or of an authority.
I should probably review that for you.
Yeah, I'm wondering like the film commission and like boards like that that are quasi-public, but they're nonprofit, they're separate, but the county's a member of it.
Yeah, you might, well, if the county's a member, then you're affiliated with, and then I would, without diving into statute definitions, I would say if you've got an official affiliation with an entity that's otherwise regulated, then you're right.
I just haven't had time. I mean, if
You're probably you're probably found, well, I don't know, but
every department,
Yeah.
I have no idea.
okay.
There's a copy of this sent around, right, electronic, I didn't see it in the text, but
In the big board of directors package.
Yeah,
The
and
big-
we didn't print out the manual.
Okay.
But we gave an HTML link to it.
no, I think just want to check other part like sewers, I'm assuming they have their own, but other entities like Visit Buffalo Nag or the Convention Center, Invest Buffalo Nag, or we fund and or some parts of.
You know, so whenever I get a records retention, I pull up. I think it's that schedule, but it's usually from like the New York State Public Archives.
It's like the arts and cultural.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
It's
it.
the
It's the same.
updated.
They updated it.
Yep. It's all online. It's actually pretty user friendly.
Yeah, it is, but more often than not,
Yeah.
an email with a map that has a proposal and
Yeah.
it becomes real complicated when you're doing, particularly electronic records.
Yeah.
Because it's complicated, but yeah.
Okay.
Very good. So there's no, we're waiting for ECC
I emailed and texted.
to,
Yeah, they're retention from the county.
a headache for you.
It's, the problem is, we were supposed to follow the New York State schedule, which was, that was determined that the actual.
LSG1.
Yes, oh yeah, LSU one.
I would have said that, LSG1.
No one follows it, no one audits it.
Yeah, they just updated it.
Yeah, well, a couple of years ago, we had to get it approved by the ledge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, and I gave you a copy of the book about that there.
Okay.
Like, no one in any of the departments necessarily follow that. Because basically, it's basically the document is best practice, and it gives you suggestions. It doesn't say you have to keep it this.
Thank
We recommend 3, you can decide whatever your legal department decides on.
Okay.
It-
Comes back to me.
Yeah, so I mean, it really does. I mean, if you read it, so I mean,
Careful.
some people adopt different policies and, certain departments keep it like health, education, some records. Social services for like adoptions.
Yeah, they have.
They're pretty good at that, clerks, as well as the DEA, are pretty good with their record retention, but I would say 80% of the departments don't follow any.
I would imagine the departments that are regularly relying on archival documents, like the clerk's office, like the DA's office, like social services, are probably much closer to following it than, say, the Department of Senior Services.
Correct, yes.
I would agree. Who wants to see old documents?
We're still.
That's good.
Okay, I've been trying to get you.
It's all right. Is there anybody here? Why you working on
Well,
divulge?
The archives said this gotta be stored for 5 years, live, so
Okay.
4.5 years from now, some of the law students gotta be, find something we did wrong at this meeting.
Well, good for them. We'll just blame you.
Yeah.
Bad advice.
I warned him to stop talking.
Bob, if you're hungry, there's lunch in the oven.
You know what, thank you, I ate it.
Okay. They're on their way up, by the way. They're coming.
Hello.
Hey.
Thanks for coming up.
Policies that any board should have, you know, at least.
So,
I know we work with boards.
somebody, yeah, just so you're on camera. So we just want to, going through the amended changes to policies, and the one that came up that was sort of, only you guys through is the customer proposal policy. So she can pull it up there if you want to see the changes, however you want to walk us through.
Some right here.
Okay.
He's just gonna take a quick look at the, just refreshing his memory as to what, well, you can go up there if it's easier.
Also, if you want to scroll.
Yeah, but we're, focusing on what we're, just getting a better understanding of the business reasons for.
More than start sheet.
The description of capital investment. So we often distinguish between capital and operating costs, but this definition seems to include some non-capital expenses. But I guess it's all in relation to a capital project.
About this here, where it says the opportunity analysis will evaluate the metrics, including the capital investment.
Yeah, and the
Profit margin.
definition below.
Total amount of upfront costs and expenditures. Yeah.
See, some of us would refer that to mean staffing, other non-capital expenses, like hiring consultants.
Yeah, I look at it, it's
Professional services.
we put these IRUs out to the customer. And there's a one-time IRU fee, which that's not a capital outlay. ErieNet doesn't lay money out for that.
Should we go on the record if we're gonna, are we on the record? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize we went back on the record. Well, then let me just say, so we're back on the record. And the question, we now have ECC here to describe the customer proposal policy. And they're gonna walk us through the changes. Sorry, I didn't realize.
So what we're trying to do with the capital investment is what's the money that ErieNet has to lay out before we realize any revenue, right? That's essentially the risk that we're taking. So when we look at a IRU for a customer and let's say there's 5 miles of fiber that has to be built off the backbone. Well, the backbone's already been built, ARPA paid for that backbone. But to build 5 miles might be $300,000-$400,000 in upfront capital that ErieNet has to lay out, that the customer eventually pays us for that capital. But it, it might be 9-10 months before we get that money back. So I think in our IRU agreement, they pay 50% upon signing of the IRU, and then the rest is due when we turn the fiber over. So again, we want to look at that capital investment because that's important. Especially if we were to take on a significant build. What if we were going to build 25 miles? Now we're into, a couple $1 million in capital investment.
I guess my confusion was just the differentiation between capital costs and operating costs.
Yeah.
And we're including, it seems to me we're including operating costs or professional services.
Well, it would include, for the purposes of the metric that we evaluate, it's the construction cost, including the design permitting costs that go into construction. We don't carry a factor for ErieNet overhead or ErieNet staffing.
Okay.
So for the purposes of this, we have to kind of abandon our traditional definition of capital.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, you gotta abandon that. So for the purposes of this, Matt is saying that any cost that gets us to the point of having to make the connection that we spend up front, and it's to be recouped in the IRU at a later date, that's what he's going to define as capital investment.
Yeah, no, I'm understanding it better.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Any other questions while Matt is here about
No,
this particular?
that's it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think so then what the motion is to adopt and refer the package of amendments as a single package, including the video conference policy, which we spent last time talking about, for adoption at the annual meeting, you know, held in an hour, right? That's what good.
Yep.
So I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Take a second.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Motion.
Yeah.
Did you want to?